Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having a great start to the week. Well, we have kind of a situation right now. Live Arena is an absolute shit show, if I want to be completely honest. And I really thought about this topic and if I should do a video about it or not. And I came to the conclusion that yes, 100%. I need to cover this because I genuinely care about the game. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing it for 6, almost 7 years, right? And I like to think that I'm a very honest, transparent, competitive player. And with that being said, it's very important to me that the competitive ranking systems are fair for everybody. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other players do care as well. But before we dive deeper into this video, make sure to hit that freaking like button so I can tell my friends how cool I am. And also subscribe to the channel. In Raid Shadow Legends, hitting rank 1 live arena is supposed to mean something. It's supposed to be skill, right? Drafting, gear, decision making. But instead it's turning into coordinated boosting. And here's how it works, okay? 2 or more top players queue at the same time, preferably, when there's not much traffic, not a lot of players are playing. That's most of the time when it's, nighttime or like morning time for the EU, nighttime for the US, which is the biggest player base. And then, the least amount of players are playing and matching up. And that way it's more likely that you face each other. And they face each other over and over again, okay? And this is where things get spicy because what they are doing is that one player intentionally loses, right? So one of them gets -3 points, the other one that wins gets +9. So every 2 battles that they are doing this, each of them will get +6 points. Now, it's very important that they are close to each other in points, so it's more likely that they match each other. But even more importantly, that they gain the full amount of points, right? Because if you have a bigger gap in points, then you will receive less points when you win, up to or like down to 1 point, okay? And that is actually most of the time the case for people that are pushing for the number 1 spot or even top 10. If you face players with a couple hundred points less than you, I think it's 300 points. I'm not quite sure now. I would have to look it up, but I think it's like 300 points or even less than that. So if there's a difference of 300 points, if you fight somebody that is, 300 points below you and you win, you will only gain 1 point, where if the other one wins, he would gain 9 points, right? So you kind of want to be very close to each other in points, and that is exactly what happened. And the problem is, this isn't even cheating or hacking technically, because it is just using the system exactly how it is designed. The matchmaking doesn't prevent repeated matchups. The rating system doesn't detect suspicious win trading, and there's also no penalty for coordinated queuing, okay? And it gets even worse, right? Because boosting isn't just about gaining points, it's also about stopping other people from gaining them. So if some of your clan face the competition, you can pretty much stall them, which happens a lot, right? By the way, this is not the first time this is happening. Like I said, I've been playing this game since 2019, and I've seen a lot of stuff like that. People been boosting ever since. It happened a lot. And from experience, I can say in every single competitive game that I've been playing, the top clans always exploited things like this when they can. And some are hiding it a little bit better. Some are not. Some are doing it, kind of in an obvious way. But in the end, it's always the same story. I'm not accusing anybody, but, is it possible that many other clans or people or players did it before? Yes, absolutely, 100%, okay? Now back to the thing that I wanted to say. Stalling is when you face your competitive clan or whatever that is also pushing for the number one spot or the top 10 or whatever, and you just let your turns run out. Like you have a 30-second timer, and the pick phase is also very long, so you just use the full amount of time for this match to make sure that they can't do more fights by keeping them in the game, okay? So this leads to another problem as well, that the whole live arena system is based on not only how many fights you can win, but more so how many fights can you do. And now the schedule has been improved. I mean, extended. You know, we have a 4-hour window. The amount of fights that people can get in those 4 hours is absolutely insane. I mean, we have like 3,000 battles here and there, and yeah, it is absolutely insane. It shouldn't be the case, in my opinion. It should not be based on how many fights can you do more. You know, there needs to be more emphasis on win rate somehow. So what basically happens is that the leaderboard stops reflecting skill and starts reflecting coordination, okay? And also who has the most amount of gems and time to play live arena, okay? Or even worse, who's willing to exploit harder. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you are competing at the top and you're not doing this, you're at a disadvantage, because who can assure that nobody else is doing it if it's possible? So in my opinion, this isn't really a player problem. It's the system design problem. A competitive mode should never allow that. Repeated farming of the same opponent, win trading without detection, queue manipulation. Those are kind of like key factors that play into this. To be honest, fixing this isn't complicated either. What you could do is limit, and many other games do that, limit the daily matches you can do, for example. The only downside is that, I mean, not for us, but, you know, a negative effect of it would be that players that play live arena would spend less gems, and we all know who wouldn't like that, right? Now, let me talk about this season real quick, because I feel like, you know, it kind of makes sense, because I've been pushing for the top 100 or top 50 or whatever this season, and I feel like, you know, it does make sense if I talk about it, because I also, you know, was a spectator of it. Like I observed it happening, and it is a huge problem. Okay. So what happened really is that this account right here, I'm sorry if I don't know how to say that name. I think it's Yankee or something like that. So this account was in the first place for like the most amount of time during this season, with a relatively high win rate, right? Like 81% is really high, and a lot of battles, okay? A lot of battles, and if you compare these amount of battles with the current number one spot, which is Nick, so they have almost the same amount of battles, but Nick has like, you know, almost 3K, like 2.5K points more. And what that tells us is that most of the time this account faced players that were extremely lower than this account, right? So most of the time it would gain 1 point, all right? 1 point for a win, where this account, you know, a lot of times, which is really unrealistic, gained 9 points most of the time per win. And here number 1 and 2 did exactly what I explained earlier. And I also have some screenshots about that, just to compare and see the difference. So right here you can actually see it perfectly. I mean, it you know, at this point the boosting already took place excessively, but it kept going. So in the lower screenshot you can see the amount of points, and these are like screenshots from 2 different sessions, right? This is like, you know, one time window away from, like one schedule away from each other, right? So it's like 1 hour in between of a of 2 4-hour windows of Live Arena, right? And you can only play so many fights in Live Arena, right? But here you can see that almost 200, like 230 battles were played in 4 hours, which is unrealistic. If you play like real battles, you can maybe get like 100, 150, something like that, depending on how fast you win, lose, or if if you're facing a bot or whatever, So it's taking more time, and realistically, you cannot do 250 battles. So that's one indicator for it, that they did it, and also the amount of points they gained. Okay, so if you have that amount of points, let's say you have 6,600 points with 2,600 battles, right? And then in the next session you have 7,300 points and 2,800 battles. So that means he would gain like 3 points per, like on average, per battle, which is not realistic because normally he would only gain 1 point unless he's facing place number 2, which is relatively or like very close to his score, and that would mean +9 per win and -3 per loss. I think that is what happened, because just mathematically anything else wouldn't make sense. Now I want to make this very clear that I don't have a personal problem with Nick. I don't have a personal problem with any of the guys in the leaderboards that are doing this. I just want to highlight actually that it's possible. All right. I think that is the biggest problem here. It is not the players that are doing it. It is the system that is exploitable. And I'm actually in contact with Nick. We faced each other in Live Arena as well, and I have a lot of respect for him because I know he's a very good player. He has a very strong account and he's a very strong competitor. So he's capable. I'm pretty sure he's capable. Like, he has a chance to get the rank 1, to get the number 1 spot without doing this, if it isn't possible at all. And the same goes for everybody from Mad as well. I've been facing them as well, and they are strong as well, right? So they're the number 1 PvP clan in the entire game. That is just a fact, and I have a lot of respect for them. I learned a lot from both of them. I also am in contact with some of the Mad guys, right? It just happens on Discord. In general, I just want the competitive nature of Live Arena, or just in general, Arena, PvP, any PvP area actually, also Siege, Classic Arena, and Live Arena, to be as fair as possible for everybody. So we can actually see who is the best player, what this leaderboard should actually show. So that is the most important thing to me, okay? So please, guys, be civil in the comments, like, don't bash any of them. This is not the first time this happened. I'm pretty sure it happened before. Not from Nick, or I don't know, but I'm pretty sure others did it as well, just a little bit less excessively and not so obvious. And a part of me, is kind of happy that he did it so excessively, because now we can actually highlight it, and maybe this will provoke some change and force Plarium to do something about it. And actually, right before I started doing this video, we had a response from Plarium that there are updates being prepared for the matchmaking in the upcoming releases to prevent this type of thing. And I really hope that it works, and I hope that people won't find another way to go around that and exploit the system, so we can actually have a fair competitive space for everybody, and just have fun. But like I said, this is a big problem. This happened in Classic Arena too. top players that intentionally lose to a defense, so his ratings get boosted to make sure he places first. Clans are tanking in Siege, manipulating their scores so they actually face weaker opponents. Same in CVC. Everybody's doing it, and that's the problem, that everybody's doing it, and because of that, everybody else is also kind of forced to do it. The only clan that is not tanking in Siege is Mad, because they have, the biggest chance to win against any clan, and everybody tanks against them, so they push their score up into the oblivion. And the same thing happens for a lot of other clans as well. So everybody's trying to avoid facing, the strongest clan in the game. And, I cannot blame them, because, most people are doing it, so it is what it is. We definitely need some changes in most of the matchmaking systems when it comes to PvP, and I hope, upcoming updates will do something about it, and fix this problem forever. So yeah, guys, with that being said, that's been it from my side. Like I said, please be civil in the comments. Don't throw insults around you. I think it's important that we highlight this topic, and that we talk about it, and work on a solution and fix it, and not go after each other. And yeah, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more raid content. If you like this video, YouTube's gonna think that you like this one as well. Take care, and see you in the next one.